boys and girls, Doug Giles here. It's Warriors, Rich.
And Wildmen. What's happening, Doug?
Rich, let me ask you a question, man.
Ask me a question, Doug.
You're not pointing a prop gun at Zeke right now, are you?
No.
Yeah, because if you are, don't do it, okay?
Yeah, I heard that's dangerous.
Yeah,
Especially
I was
prop
taught.
guns are actually real guns. I mean,
Yeah.
you can call it a prop gun, but if it has a way to explode something in a chamber, that's a gun.
That's not too proppy to me, man.
No, that's a gun
So obviously
minus a projectile. But what happens
Right.
if a projectile gets in a prop gun? It's not a prop gun. It's a real gun.
Yeah, so obviously to the Warriors Wildmen people who pay attention, we're talking about Alec Baldwin's blunder this past week, murderous blunder. And Rich, it looks like Alec is doing this thing called passing the buck. He's bebopping and scatting. I don't know about you, but I'm no fan of Alec Baldwin. I think he's got some good movies. I think he's got some acting chops. I'll give him that. But from a human being political standpoint, just not a big cheerleader for all things Alec Baldwin. That said, man, I wouldn't want this to happen to my worst enemy. This is some really bad. This is some bad juju, man. And
But if it has to happen, I want it to happen to somebody like him.
yeah, he's a big. It's funny about. And I don't know if you pulled him up yet. We're talking prior to the show. He's a big anti-gun nut. And now he's not total. Get rid of all guns. People shouldn't own guns, but very stringent in regards to whom gets guns. And very particular of what type of guns people in the land of the free and the home of the frickin' brave are allowed to purchase or trade or acquire somehow. And very vociferous about anti-cop sentiments when, they shoot a perpetrator wrongfully. And, just really derides the cops, derides gun owners. Lo and behold, I think Solomon put it this way, Rich, that haughtiness goes before destruction and pride goes before a fall or something like that. Again, I don't want this to happen to Alec Baldwin, okay, people? It's a horrible frickin' thing. That, beautiful 42-year-old mom of one, cinematographer, she's dead because this jackass, this moron, didn't just follow proper gun safety. Rich, this is stuff you and I learned when we were. Tell me, Dick didn't tell you the first time he ever handed you a shotgun to go dove hunting, or a .22 pistol or a rifle to go plink some cans out in the desert, shoot some jackrabbits. Tell me he didn't frickin' punch you in the jaw, or scream you down to horny toad size when you pass that gun barrel in front of him or Cal or whomever, that you didn't get this thing called the Riot Act read to you, plus throat punched.
I never made one of those mistakes growing up. I don't know that I've ever flagged anyone now. I just don't remember if it's ever happened because we're so conscious of it. But like you were saying, since my dad was a former Marine, Vietnam vet, we were raised in Arizona with guns, shooting from a very early age, even a pellet gun. Everything was like very serious, very disciplined. And my dad would never take us to shoot around anyone else. He didn't want anybody around him or us that he didn't know. And so until we were older and started dove hunting, but my dad was picky about where we went hunting. And so my dad was very, very strict with guns. And I remember one time when we were hunting in Phoenix, we're hunting dove. The only time I remember somebody making a mistake was my brother Cal. He was about, he would have been maybe 11 years old. Shooting a 20 gauge shotgun, Remington pump, dove hunting. And him and I would share that gun. And so it was his turn to shoot. My dad was standing to his left, and I was standing just to his right and back behind him a little bit. And a bird flew, and my brother shot at it, and it cut towards us and to the right. And my brother swung the barrel right where I was at. But as I saw it coming, I hit the ground and put my hands over my ears. And my brother fired the gun, and I was in shock, like, what happened, But he shot over me, but when that happened, I was like, whoa. And I turned around because I knew my dad was going to be pissed. Oh, my dad wasn't pissed. My dad was holding my brother's gun and his gun, and my brother was laying on the ground. And my dad said, get up and go sit in the truck where I can see you, and you're done hunting for the day.
There
and
you
my brother
go.
went over there. And what had happened, I found out from talking to them later, is that as soon as my brother pulled that trigger, my dad smacked him with the back of his hand and the side of his head and caught that gun before it ever touched the ground. But we were just seriously,
Yep.
Doug, from pellet rifles. It didn't matter. We were taught insane amounts of gun safety.
Yep.
Some people would consider it over. We don't consider it over because people's lives are at stake. And then when you and I have been hunting together, you're very careful with your guns all the time. And of course, that's the first thing I notice. I mean, I know you're a hunter, but when I go there now, my life is, I want to know where the guns are, And so, you're obviously very safe with firearms, but that's trained. That's not by saying those are bad. When you say those are bad, you're untrained.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about this Alec Baldwin stuff, Rich, is everybody's like, well, it's just a horrible accident. It's like, accident? Did the pistol, did the prop gun, quote unquote, did it get up and independently of a bunch of other people's actions and blunders, including Alec pulling the frickin' trigger? Did it levitate in the air, Rich, and then somehow point itself at the cinematographer and then drop the hammer? I'm not buying it. That's not an accident. That is stupidity.
In a movie, you have to aim a gun at a person. You have to aim it at a person, right? I mean, so you're going to be violating the number one rule of gun safety.
Right.
So the other things become 1,000 times more important. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So, film and pop historian Michael Corey told Fox News, he said, this is an unprecedented procedural failure in the history of firearms safety. He said, it is absolutely unbelievable. He said, the person responsible for loading and ensuring that the firearm is ready for the scene is called an armorer or a weapons master. And you're supposed to have an armorer and an assistant armorer to make sure the damn gun's not loaded with real bullets. Then there are several steps that you're supposed to go through to ensure that the weapon is loaded correctly with the correct type of blanks, Corey explained. Because there's more than one type of blank, there's lower power, and then there's mid power, and then there's high power blanks, and they create different visual effects. Before the actor is even given the weapon, it's supposed to go through several stages of safety before it's handed to the actor. And the actor has to entrust that the armorer, I'm going to ask you what you would do, Rich, after I finish this paragraph. The actor has to entrust that the frickin' armorer and everyone else involved have done their job correctly before handing the weapon to the actor. So you're Rich Whitmer. You're in the place of like Jason Statham or Matt Damon. It's frickin' you own Hollywood action films. Rich frickin' Whitmer, man. Okay, you got because you are rich, you're going to have a lot of fans and you're going to have a lot of enemies. So you're in an action movie, given a loaded sidearm or a rifle or a shotgun or an RPG or whatever. What is old rich old buddy old pal, who is always in the controversial type place in life, again with friends and with foes? What are you going to do when somebody hands you this thing called a prop gun with blanks in it?
Well, 3 thoughts on that, Doug. Number 1, if you hand me a gun, I expect you to hand it to me in the proper manner, which means unloaded, magazine ejected, slide locked open.
Okay, this is a revolver though that Alec.
I was just going to say, if it's a revolver, I want you to hand it to me with the cylinder open. I want to see it. I want the hammer down. I want the cylinder open, and I want you to hand it to me with the barrel facing the ground. And I'm going to take it, and I'm going to turn away from you, and I'm going to look at the firearm, and then I'm going to, if there's rounds in it, I'm going to take them out if I want to check the action and everything on the firearm. But if I was in a movie and you hand me a revolver, I'm going to turn that thing. People might not believe this. They might say I'm just saying it. I don't care. I would pull out every one of those bullets to make sure that it was the proper round. That's what I would do. Now, I was at the two other thoughts. One, I was at a gun shop, and a lady was showing me a pistol, and it was a semi-automatic, and she put it on the pad and everything, and I was looking at it, and I was checking it out. It was an awesome gun, And so I popped the magazine out, locked the slide back. I set it back down on the counter. I set the magazine next to it. And you know what the lady said to me? She said, "Thank you for handling that pistol correctly. Do you know how many people we have in this shop every day that do not know how to handle a pistol?" And imagine working in a gun shop and you have all these yahoos in here in Arizona. A lot of people have guns and they don't have proper gun safety. But Doug, I'm never going to point a gun at anyone. I'm not going to point a gun at anyone. I'm not going to do it. If I'm in a movie and I have to point at a gun at someone, then I refer to the third point I was going to make. If it's Keanu Reeves, do you think that he's going to take a firearm that they hand him and just start pointing it at people and pulling the trigger?
Yeah,
no
I think so.
Freaking way, bro. There's no way. You know why? Because he knows guns. He's never going to do that because he knows how dangerous they are. So I don't understand that, but maybe it's because I'm hypersensitive that this can kill everyone.
Yeah, this is where it gets kind of I don't know, weird. Because look, again, man, I'm no fan of Baldwin. So that said, but he's been around freaking guns. I can't name how many movies that I've seen with Alec with prop guns. So I don't know, man. Is this murder? Did he off her? Does she know something? Did they do something?
Right.
I
That's
don't know.
too weird. How about manslaughter?
Yeah,
You're responsible.
Yeah, and it's not only did he actually, so listen to this stuff.
Well, let me ask you this real quick because we're on that same thing. Okay, I'm safe with guns. I know you're safe with guns. We hand each other rifles. What's the first thing you do when I hand you a rifle?
Yeah, so if it's say it's your Ruger number 1 300 H&H, you hand me the rifle. If the action's not already open, I drop that falling block. I stick my finger in the chamber to see if, for whatever kind of weird reason, the extractor didn't extract the shell, and then give it a visual, and then lock it back up. And if it's a bolt action, I pull the bolt back, finger in the the chamber, see if one's there. Now, I don't look down the pipe with that because I just
that's a bad idea.
Very uncomfortable with that. But yeah, I mean, there's ways to see. You can stick a flashlight. You can you can see the light coming down the corridor of the barrel.
So you check to see if it's loaded every single time?
Every time.
So do
Absolutely.
I. And like I said, maybe I'm a little more. I don't think so. I think that's normal. I think it's proper gun etiquette. I think it's proper safety. I don't think it makes any sense to not check a firearm that you're handed at any point for any reason. I don't want to hear it. Hey, I checked it. We both checked it. Okay. Yeah. Well, you're handing it to me. No, I'm going to check it. And if that offends you, well, don't shoot guns with me because I'm going to check. And when you check, it doesn't hurt my feelings. Well, I'm going to check. And I don't care how
check and double check, man.
You're talking about a firearm, and
right.
We can call it a prop gun, but it murdered somebody and wounded another person.
Like when we were getting our license to carry before Abbott recognized constitutional carry, and we don't need a special little card or anything like that.
Right.
Our weapons instructor, he was talking about like when you have your semi-automatic pistol, you pull the action back, look, see if it's got a round in it, and then look away, and then look back again. He said, check it twice. It freaking takes a nanosecond, and everything. And listen, I've in full disclosure, Rich, and I'm in the Hall of Shame right now. I had a rifle. It was a bolt action that I pushed the bolt forward, pulled it back. I didn't stick my finger up the barrel, again, assuming that the extractor would have pulled the round out of the barrel. And so usually after I do boom and I see no round fly out, lock it up. There was none in the magazine, so it didn't carry anything forward. It was just there already, and it didn't get pulled out. I don't know how the hell that happens.
Yeah, crazy.
All. Yeah, so anyway, thankfully, the second rule is when you do release your trigger, point it away from cows and human beings and, I don't know, bombs.
Buildings.
Yeah. And so I went boom, and I tell you what, brother, that freaked me out. I had nightmares. Now, again, it wasn't pointed at anybody. Left a nifty hole in a roof. And I know I shouldn't be laughing. I know I shouldn't be laughing about it. Nobody was above us or anything like that.
But because you followed all the safety rules, nobody got hurt.
Right. Yeah. So, but here's
There's
a lesson.
multiple.
Because this was many moons ago, and here's a lesson, brother. I learned because I already knew it, and I thought that the mechanics of the weapon was good enough, but now old Dougie, old buddy, old pal Rich, finger in the chamber, man, to see if I can feel anything there, because I would have felt it immediately, and I freaking
because it's right there. It's not like you have to.
Yeah.
It's literally right there. But it's funny you bring that up because I slide the extractor back, and if I see a round, I know, and if I don't see anything, I never thought about what you're saying. But I would never point it at anybody. Well, I wasn't there when this happened, but I showed up at my house about an hour later. My dad, who, like I said, super safety firearms guy, he had been shooting his .45, took it apart, was cleaning it. My mom's brother was sitting in there watching TV with them, and my dad's putting it back together. And my uncle asked him, he says, "Was that the typical .45, blah, 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 whatever?" And my dad racks it and then says, "No, I have a trigger job and all this stuff done." And he points it at the TV and pulls the trigger, and it goes off, and my dad blows a hole through his big screen TV. And my uncle, my mom's brother, screaming. My mom comes flying in there because she thought my dad got mad and shot her brother, and which is a true story. She really did think that. And my dad was sitting there shaking his head, and he's like, I did the thing that I don't, like, I've been doing this, teaching everybody this my whole life. And I had come over after that, and they were watching golf, and I saw the guy putt the ball. I was like, that's not even close to the hole. And then I saw it drop, and I was like, what is that? And him and my uncle started laughing. I was like, your dad shot the TV. And so when I talked to my dad about it, he said, look, you only have to make a mistake one time for somebody to die. You don't get to play around with guns. You don't get to think that you don't get to get casual. He said what happened was he asked me after I put the magazine in it, because I was about to store it without a round in the chamber, but with a full magazine. He said, I set it down. He asked me, I picked it up because I was cleaning it, so it's obviously not loaded. And when I pulled that back to show him the trigger, I racked the round, pulled the trigger, and sent one right through the TV. Right. And but see, that's terrifying. So what's the solution? The other 4, 5, 6 things that you do to make sure that somebody's safe. And if you don't do one of those, people die. Like they die.
Yeah.
And that's what happened here. And that's sad. I mean, it's terrible. And I'm not happy, obviously, about this thing. I don't hate Alec Baldwin. I think he's an idiot about guns and politically, but I don't hate the guy. And I don't want him to die, and I don't want anybody around him to die. Definitely don't want some lady and a guy working on a movie set to be shot. But that's what happens when you get comfortable with firearms. And sometimes the most comfortable, the most skilled and trained people can become the most comfortable and start to become lax.
Well, if you watch CNN, which I don't, or if you listen to Entertainment Tonight, it's like, oh, it's a horrible accident, but it's not Alec Baldwin's fault. And so again, there's the armorer, that frickin', green and purple haired chick who's 24, who Nicolas Cage told her she was doing some movie with Cage, and she was the armorer, there at that movie. And I think she just got the gig because her old man was doing it in Hollywood for, like 4 or 5 decades. Anyway, here she is. And Cage said that she's shooting the prop guns in proximity to him without any kind of like, hey, guys, I'm about to, lay down some blanks or I'm about to try the action on this rifle or this pistol. She just starts shooting with no heads up. And so Cage screamed at her. He said, you blew my effing eardrum out. Yeah. And so lots of complaints about her. Obviously, yes, if she did load that gun, then oh my God, man, she's in this thing called deep yogurt. But again, people are kind of saying that Alec has no responsibility whatsoever. Well, first of all, he's the producer of the film, right?
Boom.
And it's his responsibility and his production company's responsibility to make sure that live rounds don't get loaded into a gun that's used on set. But they were so criminal charges, man, are still on the table according to Santa Fe Sheriff's Department. It says legal docs have revealed that Baldwin. Now, here's what happened. So Baldwin's drawing a gun across his body, Western style. Again, it's a single action Colt pistol, and he's pointing it at the camera during the rehearsal in Santa Fe set for the film called Rust, which I think is apropos to what's going to happen in this project. And obviously it killed the cinematographer. Affidavits containing statements from Susan, the camera operator, Reed Russell, state that Baldwin was handed a prop gun and then told it was unloaded. Now check this out. Santa Fe County District Attorney Mary Carmack Altweiss has now revealed that criminal charges are still on the table, telling the New York Times that the firearm used in the incident was legit. It was an antique-era Colt single-action pistol, not a prop. So everybody's running with the narrative: a prop gun killed him. And Rich, I've done a total of one movie. It had a lot of guns in it. It's Plato's Run with frickin' Gary Busey and Roy Schreider, who's a great dude, and God rest his soul. But a lot of the guns that were props, we had real ones. The prop ones are frickin' plastic. You could tell that they were. I wouldn't if you could load a bullet into a prop gun, forgive me, but I'm not going to pull the trigger on that thing because it's going to do this thing called explode,
Right.
So here's a legit gun that I think 2 days before he killed her on Thursday, that they're taking the same gun and shooting beer cans with it on the set, between shots and stuff. Said that a prosecutor added that there's an enormous amount of bullets that were found on the set. And this
why would you even have real bullets on a set?
This investigation ain't this
Why
thing called
would you
OVA.
have real bullets on a movie set? Why do you have real bullets? And why would you have a bunch of bullets? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you have a gun that you're going to use in a movie that you're loading bullets in and shooting cans? Like, you're an idiot. Like, I told my son Luke, I took him out to shoot for the first time, and he was probably 7, maybe a little younger, 7 or 8. And we went out in the desert, opened the back of the SUV, had a shotgun there, had I think a 22 rifle, a 45, and a revolver, a 357 revolver. And I said, okay, here's the different ammo. And I'm laying them out and I'm talking to him, and he made a joke, and I stopped and said, what's so funny? And he's like, oh, I was just making a joke. And I said, oh, should we put the guns away so you can make your joke? And he goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, we're not here to joke, we're here to shoot. He's like, well, that doesn't sound fun. I said, the fun is the shooting and everybody living. I said, nothing's funny if somebody gets shot. So if you want to tell a joke, we'll put the guns away and we'll tell jokes. If you want to shoot, no jokes, no laughing. We're doing this. Okay, well, I guess we'll just shoot the gun. So I explained the ammo. He goes over. We're shooting. And I told him, I said, you want to know why you have to be careful with that gun? He said, why? And I said, because all you have to do is not pay attention one time. And with the power of those guns and how close we are, you're going to watch somebody with blood pumping out of their body and look into their eyes while they die. And I said, I'm the only person here. Do you want to watch blood pumping out of my chest and watch me die? He's like, no, I don't. And I said, that's what's at stake. And until you learn that, shooting guns is not fun. And people think it's morbid. They think no, it's not. It's the reality. That's what they do. They kill people. So at that time, probably by the time he was 10, I would take my pistol out of my car and hand it to my 10-year-old son and say, go put this where I keep it. And he was walking through the house with it in the holster, no round in the chamber, pointing down at the ground, holding it close to his chest. He's walking through the house. His mom says, hey, Luke, you need to go do this. He goes, not right now. And he's like heading for my room. And she goes, hey, he said, I have a gun in my hand. And he just keeps going, puts it down and comes back out. And then she's telling me, hey, he can't not listen to me. I said, he's right. I don't want him distracted. I don't want him to do anything else. I want him to take that loaded firearm the way that I trained him and go put it exactly where it goes without stopping to do anything else in the world, because nothing else is important. And she didn't really like that because she wasn't raised with guns. But since I'm the man of the house, she didn't have a say. And I'm not talking about Annie, because we know that she can shoot better than me. So,
right. Yeah, I mean, what Alec could have done, it's so simple. I mean, like you said, in regards to when you're handed a revolver, hey, it's a cold gun and it's a prop. First of all, it's like, no, this is a real gun, okay, dumbass, so just get away from me. Number two, I'll determine whether it's hot or cold. So flip open that cylinder, knock it to the left, give a little look-see. Well, I'll be danged. There's 6 rounds in this cold gun.
That says
eject.
.45.
Right. Eject. There they are, pretty little bullets, right in my hand. Hello, lovelies. Now, Rich, I'm not big into shooting blanks. I think I've seen them like 2 or 3 times. Did it during a race. They're off. And I think they look different though than a live round, right?
Yeah, a live round is typically rounded, cylinder shaped, and
right.
If it's a hollow point, obviously the tip is different.
It's got a bullet on it, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have a round plastic cap on the top of it, filled with powder. It's the little cap thing that they put on.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that.
Yeah, or the blanks that I've seen are like crimped.
Oh
so
yeah.
There's no projectile. There's no head. There's not 118 grains of lead protruding out of the casing, and that immediately. And again,
right.
Rich, we're talking about what? Maybe.
Yeah, I realized I was actually describing the shot shells for the
22
pistol that has. Yeah,
right.
No, the 357 that has the cap on it with a snake load and has the BBs in the plastic cap.
Yeah, you don't want that.
No, you don't want to shoot that at anybody either.
Yeah, so we're talking about what? All of, I don't know, 5 seconds to figure that shit out? 5 seconds. So you're handed a gun, you're an actor, boom, it's a revolver, an old Colt, open the cylinder, see it's got everyone, stuffed full of something. So you push it out with the little rod right into the hand. Well, I'll be damned. There's one that looks different than the other ones. And
yeah, that looks like copper on the top.
Exactly. Or full lead cast or something.
Or just lead, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, how about you open your little box there and give me a frickin' blank on your way to leaving the ranch because you're fired, you moron.
Yeah.
What are you trying to do to me? What are you trying to do to me? Huh? What are you trying to do to them? You want that girl killed?
Well,
Rich, I think the more that they start tugging at this thing, there's going to come something insidious instead of it just like, well, shoot, that was just an unfortunate accident.
Well, here's another thing, Doug. Even if it's a prop gun that can't fire bullets, you still have to check, because if any debris gets into the barrel, it's a gun again. Right. Say it's not anything that can... There's no projectile. It won't even take a regular bullet. If there's something in the barrel, that's a projectile. That's a real gun.
The chick that, the armorer. And if you see this girl, it's like, man, I hate to judge people, Rich. You know that. I'm the most unjudgmental person on the planet. That chick would not be the armorer on my production set. I want some steely, gray-eyed, frickin' grizzled, kind of Clint Eastwood stunt double type dude. It's frickin' just, if you look at a gun weird, or you look at him weird, he makes your dad look like Pee Wee Herman or something. Yeah. Just absolute zero crap taken, crap kicking, just great armor. And then this hippie, dippy chick, with muted hair color like Dennis Rodman on a bad trip to the salon, and she's the one who's handling the firearms. Are you freaking kidding me? Hey, you know what? Sometimes that kind of girl doesn't need to be in that kind of position, and that there needs to, like I said, to be some old kind
get somebody more serious.
Yeah, grizzled cat.
Here's an interesting thought. So we'll never know if we're overcautious with gun safety. But the second that you're not cautious enough, you'll know.
That bullet has no friend, my friends. No
That's right.
friends. And,
A friend of mine told me that before. He said, bullets don't have names on them. Everybody around gets some. Doesn't matter if they're meant for you or not. Doesn't matter if it's an accident. You're just still dead. And let's talk about Alec Baldwin for a second. He's trash as a person. He's a liberal, ridiculous idiot, anti-gun. And you know what? All the crap that he talks, he's reaping what he sowed. He rips on Dana Loesch, the NRA spokesperson, personally and constantly. Now he's reaping what he sows. Too bad. And you know what? He's going to come out like these other people and been like, well, I don't think this cancel culture is a good idea, and I think we should have forgiveness. Yeah, those people, they all grace for them and their crappy judgmental attitude for everybody else. And now he's getting a dose, you know. Think about this. Keanu Reeves in the John Wick series has killed 299 people in the movie. 0 in real life. But then you got old Alec. He's killed more people than in a movie set than anybody I know that legally carries. So he can say what he wants. He's an idiot.
Yeah, and like you said, and again, this is a very horrible thing. God knows I've sowed a lot of stupidity and stuff in my life, and I thank God that I'm not reaping it, and I'm under this thing called grace. But he went there. He did it to Dana, like you said. He's done it to Trump. He's ridiculed Trump supporters, Trump himself on Saturday Night Live. I noticed I checked out Saturday Night Live this past weekend, and they didn't do a skit on it, you know?
I heard that Trump was going to play Alec Baldwin in a skit on Saturday Night Live.
Right.
It was a joke, but that would be awesome.
Yeah, I saw in the Daily Mail today that the left is up in arms about the distasteful profiteering that Don Jr. is making off this Alec Baldwin
Too bad.
horrible murder of this innocent cinematographer with a T-shirt that says, guns don't kill people, Alec Baldwin does.
That's right. No, but it's true. That's what he gets. That's good. Good. Yeah. And you know what? Stop trying to tell people what they can and can't say. I've said this 100 times. I'm a firm believer in free speech. You can say whatever you want. Say it. If I disagree with it and you're evil, we want to know. Say it. No problem. But don't tell us not to say the truth and say what we believe and what we want to say. And you know what? Alec Baldwin, he's not going to get a lot of sympathy. He's probably not going to get any from anybody with a brain. The people that died and the other person that was shot, they're getting sympathy. I mean, obviously, and they should. I mean, it's a sad thing. Nobody wanted it to happen. But since it happened, like I said, it couldn't have happened to a better person. He has to practice what he preaches now. He should send himself to prison. He should talk about how there should be no grace for him. He should just go straight to prison, put himself there. Practice what he preaches, man. Go live it.
Yeah, there's you look at his Twitter feed and his anti-gun blather and stuff. I mean, some of the stuff that he said that should happen to cops who wrongfully, killed somebody in an altercation. Rich, it's not just ooh, that's a little terse rhetoric. It's freaking overt, bombastic. Yep. You should go to Guantanamo and go hang yourself type stuff. And it's horrible, brother. Yeah, for people who still think, well, it's just this accident. No, somebody loaded a live round in that Colt pistol. It was not a prop. It was a real firearm. So Alec, in the church set there in Santa Fe, he's practicing his cross draw. And so he pulled that pistol out that he did not check, or he did check. We still don't know, Rich. So for whatever, there was a live round in it, obviously. Then Alec pointed it at the camera woman. And here's another FYI. If you're on set, if you're a cameraman, cinematographer, whatever, and you got a gun, use a remote camera. Don't get behind a camera that they're pointing a gun at, real or fake. And then Alec volitionally pulled the hammer back on that pistol, then violating all safety rules with play guns or real guns. He points it in the direction, okay, say that he was pointing it at the camera. But what's the other rule about pointing your weapon at a particular target? Know what's behind the target. Know what's behind the target. Right. Yep. And so he's got a woman behind the camera, and he's got another production guy behind her, and boom, he pulls the trigger. So for people who are saying, oh, it's just a horrible accident, no. There's frickin' all kinds of just gun safety roadblocks that Baldwin went through. He didn't have to pull the trigger. If you just practice, then just go like that, you know? And I would tell again, if I was, Mr. Baldwin, I would say, you guys back off from the camera. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to draw on it. And you guys get a remote control and press record or play, and we'll see how it looks. But, dude, I don't know, brother.
Well, I just read this morning that you treat all guns like they're loaded until you can check and confirm that they're unloaded. And then after you've confirmed, then you treat them like they're loaded.
Right.
That's what it said. And it also said, and that includes toy guns.
Yep.
I don't know if you're this super arms safety inspection person, you'd think that they'd know those lists of things. And if you know those lists and that's your job, I think you'd do your job.
Well, the muted-haired armorer on this film that's going to live in infamy, she's like, I don't even feel qualified to do that job. First of all, Alec and whomever should have seen that before she said that. But as soon as, those words come out of your mouth, guess what? You're working the crafts table now instead of the frickin' firearms table.
Yep, you got
right? Yeah,
yep, 100%.
All right, Rich. So what do we got to do? What does the Warriors and Wildmen listeners, the subscriber, the enthusiast need to do, my brother?
Follow up. Check rules on basic gun safety. Teach them to your kids and your family. Don't say we don't have any guns. It's not gonna help your kids. Nothing better than someone who's trained and understands about firearms. That's the best. Even if you're not going to have them in your house, train your kids and your family basic firearm safety. Right? And then go to warriorsandwildmen.com, subscribe, like us. It's free. We'll send you a couple emails a week, and you can find us and listen to the podcast or watch the podcast on social media, wherever you do that. But make sure to subscribe so you can stay in touch with us. And if you want to help us send this message out, hit the war chest. It's tax deductible. We will send you the information on that. For those of you that are supporting us and doing that, we really appreciate you guys. God bless you guys. Warriors and Wildmen out.